Exercise 14 at the bottom, it says, select a song title from your hook book and write a chorus only within the following structure. This sets the stage for so much of what the rest of this course is about. This is kind of the method, you know. We learn a new thing, like verses with same choruses. You follow me? We learn things called verses with same choruses, and then we listen to examples of verses with same choruses. And then we write a section of a song based on a title from your hook book, based on the title placement and the setup lines, and then later on the framing rhymes that are found within those examples. So you're listening to verses with same choruses. For instance, in exercise 14, we got second wind, guy walks into a bar, she got the best of me, heart like a truck. And so listen to all those things on your own, and listen for title placement. Where's the title? Write it down. While you're listening, oh, there's the title. It's at the end of the verse, end of the chorus, whatever. And if you look, after you listen to those, if you just look below that, after see song lyrics, which wouldn't be a bad idea, you can always look up the song lyrics. That would help as you're listening to these songs on your own, right? And then I want you to select a song title from your hook book and write a chorus only within the following structure. And that structure is what you just listened to in those examples above. The chorus, the setup line is going to be the next to last line of the chorus, and the title line is going to be the first and last line of the chorus. They're going to be bookended. You will hear that in every one of those examples. And then you should be able to write a chorus. Again, don't write a whole song, just write a chorus that reflects that structure. So again, we're not writing full songs, we're writing better choruses and better bridges and better, verses and better this and better that. And it's important right now to learn the different title placements. Where's the title in these songs? Since that's the most important thing right now in a song is the title, and especially in this kind of writing. And where does the setup line show up? And then emulate that in your own song. That's a good way to learn this. The best way to get this in your head is to listen to those examples and write down what I'm asking there. Listen to the following song examples and identify the structure. It's a verse-chorus form, as well as setup lines and title lines. Listen for the verses, listen for the choruses, listen for the setup lines, listen for the title lines. Like a typical thing would be to listen to second wind, and as you're hearing it, go, okay, verse 1, verse 2, chorus 1, verse 3, chorus 2, instrumental, if you want to, solo section, chorus 4. I'm not sure if that's correct. I think it's close, chorus 4. Okay, that's the structure, right? Then go back and listen, where's the setup line? Well, it's going to be the next to last line of the chorus. And it's going to be the title's going to be at the first and the last line of the chorus. It's going to be bookended. Every one of these, there are a bunch of examples in here from here on out with the verse chorus forms that we're going to only be talking about now. We let the AABA go, we let the country bridge go, we let the modified AABA go. We're going to be talking about verses with choruses. And the title and the setup lines and the framing rhymes are going to show up in a lot of interesting places. And if you listen to those intentionally, you're going to draw these mental maps, and in the process, that decision will come out, and you'll surprise yourself and your co-writer by putting the title in the middle of the song and at the end of the song for the first time in your life. And it'll be the perfect choice. But not until you are able to listen to these and go, oh, they put the title in the middle of the song and at the end. Now I'm going to write a chorus with only that so I can get it in my head, Title placement creates form. Now this is pretty beginning. This is sort of introductory things, introductory principles. Eventually, you know, like we talked about the very first class, eventually after doing this intentionally, you're not going to be thinking this anymore. You're not going to be thinking, oh, do we need a chorus of the middle, the bookended, the penultimate line? You're not going to be thinking that. You'll just have the confidence to know, oh, this is where it needs to be. Because that will appear in your head. That blueprint will give you the confidence to do something that maybe you have never done before or never had the confidence to do before. I mean, there's so many choices of where the title can show up and where the setup lines are, and maybe it's not in the chorus at all, you know? And it's all in the service of, you know, unity, you know. You don't want to write the same song over and over again. Some titles and some emotional lines need to be within a form that might be the titles at the middle. Like I said, maybe it's in the middle of the chorus and at the end of the chorus, you know. Yeah, recommended exercise 15 on page 26. Listen to this is what you're going to be doing throughout the rest of this text when you're off by yourself and I'm not here. Listen to the following song examples and identify the structure. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean, identify the structure? You're by yourself, you've got your headphones on, or you got your speaker in front of your computer, and you're listening to Am I the Only Thing You've Done Wrong? Because it's easy to get these songs for free, or you're paying so for Spotify, or go to YouTube and get them for free. And you've got Am I the Only Thing You've Done Wrong, recorded by Leanne Womack, ready to go. And it says, listen to the following song examples and identify the structure, as well as the setup lines and title lines. So what's the structure? Man, we talked about that. What's the structure?
Verse, chorus.
Yeah.
Verse.
It might be two verses then a chorus. It might be one verse then a chorus, okay? Eventually, you want to be able to identify that by just hearing it. Just go, okay, verse, chorus. Oh, half a verse. That's cool. Okay, verse, chorus. When you're driving around in your car. But for now, sit with I like your idea of actually having it on in the book next time, but sit with a blank sheet of paper, your notebook, or write on that, but I like a notebook, and just listen to these songs and go, oh, verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, whatever it is. That's the structure. So identify the structure. It's going to be a verse-chorus form. You know that already. As well as setup lines and title lines. You know how to do that? We've done that in here, and you guys are getting pretty good at that. Where's the title line show up? What's the setup line? Okay, now we're going to listen to these three songs. We're not going to listen to all of them. And if you want to, you could do one of two things. You can either take a piece of paper and put it over where it says, select a song title from your hook book and write within the following structure. See that? You can cover that up because that's the answer to what you're going to be listening to in the three examples above. You can either cover that up or you can use it as a guide, because you will find out the questions I'm asking you to identify is answered right there. In those three songs, under the verse, the setup line is going to be the next to last line of the verse, and the title's the last line of the verse. And in the chorus, the setup line is the next to last line of the chorus and the last line of the chorus. Interesting. Okay? So you can either cover that up and listen for yourself and write that down, or just have it open, I don't care, and look at it. It's probably best to cover it up and then check your work to see if you were right. And then once we listen to these, I'm hoping that you'll select a song title from your hook book and write just a verse and a chorus. You see what I'm asking for there? Just a verse and a chorus with those things in place. Setup line, next to last line of the chorus, title line, last line of the verse. And in the chorus, the setup line is the next to last line of the chorus, and the title line is the last line of the chorus, just like the verse. Okay. Has anyone ever written a song like that? Well, you will from now on, if that's the best structure that you need. We've listened to this song a bunch of times, but okay, here we go. Now, we were just going to listen the first time through just for the structure, but if you also got the setup lines and where the title line was, then you pretty much, you're ready to write your own version of that. Okay, who wants to tell me the structure? Anybody? No?
It starts out verse 1, and then it and ends with the setup line and all the things you've done. Am I the only
Well,
thing?
just tell, that's great. Tell me just the structure.
Oh, just the structure?
Yeah, please. First one. First one,
chorus,
yeah.
Instrumental. And
Turn around.
turn around, instrumental, and then a modulation.
Okay.
Up, I think, one step.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then it goes back to the second verse.
Verse 2. Uh-huh.
Verse 2, which ends up with way.
No, I don't care.
Okay, second verse. And then it goes back into the chorus again with the setup line.
Yeah.
And it repeats the hook twice.
Tag. The tag.
The tag.
Now, when you get really good at this, you could answer, what's the structure? Verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, tag.
Okay, but you don't include the instrumental stuff.
Not really. I mean, you can, but it's overall right now. And you know, that's not part of this assignment yet. We learned turnarounds and tags later on, but you know, but when you get good at it, it's so what's the form? What's the structure? Verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, tag out. Boom. You know, or you could say intro. When you get good at when we learn them all, in this case it'd be intro, verse 1.
Intro, which is just a turnaround like the chorus.
Well, it's not a turnaround if it's at the intro.
Okay, but isn't that da 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 da?
That's where they usually use it, though.
Isn't that what the melody
They
is,
place that
more or
at the
less?
top, but that is. It's
Intro, verse 1, chorus, turnaround, verse 2, chorus 2, tag out. Okay, what's interesting about verse 2 is what?
No title.
There's no title in there like it was in verse 1.
Yeah, and the rhyme changes too.
Yeah.
Something on the way, too high a price to pay.
Yeah, in verse
Way.
In verse 1, you got the setup line next to last line of the verse, and then you got the title at the end of the verse, right? Seems I'm always here alone. Am I the only thing you've done wrong? That's the end of verse 1. And then the chorus starts, and at the end of the chorus, am I in your long line of successes? Tell me, where do I belong? Am I the only thing you've done wrong? So there's that penultimate line of the chorus with the last line of the chorus also being the title. Except you don't get that in the verse. That's great. You see that?
You get way and pay. You mean it's not a.
You don't get the title. Would be the easiest way to answer that.
Yeah.
You won't get the title line, and therefore no setup line with the title. You don't get the title like you did at the end of verse 1. Right?
Yep.
That's correct.
Now, if you know the convention, if this was extremely conventional, you would get the same thing in verse 2. As you
Rhyme scheme.
with it, yeah. I mean, at least with the setup line in the title, okay? The setup line would rhyme with the title at the end of verse 2 like it did in verse 1, all right? That would be the convention. That would be straight ahead, great, fine, write that. But now you learn, wow, you can actually, that's a great thing to do right there. It's that you don't get the title there like you did in verse 1. This house you built is perfect. If it was the title, it'd be, this house you built is perfect. On and on just like a song. Am I the only thing you've done wrong? Right? That would have been just like verse 1 as far as the setup line with the title being perfect rhyme. But you get, this house you built is perfect. And you expect, da-da-da-da-da, wrong. But you get, we're the envy of the town. That ain't going to rhyme with the title, but it's a really nice surprise. But Lord, it's lonely here when you're not around. And so that song just gave you permission to do that. And that's a wonderful, wonderful little denial of expectation there. And you know what happens when you expect something and you don't get it? Your attention focuses. Maybe they thought, of course they didn't think this rationally, but after years of doing this, maybe they thought, this house you built is perfect. We're the end. This house you built is perfect. There ain't nothing wrong. No, this house you built is perfect. It's wide and it's long. Terrible. Am I the only thing you've done wrong? Right? Maybe that'd be like, I expected that, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of would have went. I think the listener would have went a little. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I knew that was coming. Anyway, let's see what else is on the radio station here. Maybe we'll, you know what I mean? Or all of a sudden, hey, let me check my phone.
Too typical.
Yeah. And that is taste. Can you teach that? Well, yeah. Because if you're listening to this song and you're expecting a certain thing to happen and it didn't, and you're listening intentionally, you're going to remember that. You're going to go, man, that worked great. But if you don't have the name of it, if you can't articulate that and say, oh, the setup line and the title line are different in verse 2 than they were in verse 1. It's not going to stick. You got to have a title. You got to have a name for these things that you're listening intentionally to. And if you make note of that like we have, that's going to end up in a song. And you won't have to go, can we do that? Your co-writer, are you sure? Aren't we supposed to do the same because we did it in the first? Can you do that in verse 2? Because verse 1 we didn't. See, it doesn't have to be formal. Formal would have been, we have to do it exactly like we did in verse 1. And that can work. But they didn't, and now it gives you permission to go, oh. And then when you do that in your own song, you may not remember that they did it here, but you just remember that it was great. And you can, it gives you permission. Because it's in there, and it just shows up, and it's based on this and lots of other songs that probably do this. This is the only example I have of something that does this in verse 2. But next time you hear a song that does this, you can go, oh, that's just like, I don't know, I can't remember. Building mental representations. It just basically gives you confidence to do it. To break from convention, maybe even doing something authentic within convention, which is kind of the point. Okay, so you're not done with this until you select a song title from your hook book and write within the following structure, which just happens to be what we just heard. And so write a verse and a chorus with that structure. It's not easy until you do it a lot. Then it's like, oh, okay, I'm getting in the groove. Next to last line of the verse. Okay, I see what this means. It takes a little bit of thought. You're learning new words like structure and penultimate, the last, and where the title line and setup line and all that. But if you're not sure about all that, just look to the pages before because it's all described in here with lots of examples as well. But. Okay, that was 15. Now number 16, let's look ahead. Number 16 on page 27. Listen to the following song example and identify the structure as well as the setup lines and title lines. This will be an interesting example here. And it's a great song. So listen, see if you can write the structure down. Verse 1, chorus, verse 2, whatever. Write the structure down while writing and while listening for the setup line and where the title line is. So you might have something that says verse 1, chorus, title line, last line, the title's in the last line of the verse, and the setup line is the next to last line of the verse. You might write that down, as you're listening. It's telling you right there, by the way, if you want to see the answer to what you're fixing to listen to, it's right there under select a song title. That's why I say maybe cover that up while you're listening, but it's okay if you don't. One of my favorite writers in town, maybe my favorite writer is Stephen Dale Jones, who wrote this. Now, all those other one more day, all those other little one more days showing up, that's not part of the structure. You don't have to like, oh, that's the fourth time they, yeah. No, the structure is the basic verse, chorus arrangement, okay? It's like inside of a house, the bedrooms and the hallways and not the
Linen closet.
the linen closet. Thank you very much. I never have to search again. I'm going to use that for the rest of my life. Thank you. It's not the linen closet. It's part of the song, but okay. If they didn't do it, so it wouldn't have mattered so much. Okay, I'll walk us through this. You can check your work. It was verse 1. Let's just talk about the structure instead of the intros and turnaround. Verse 1, right? Chorus 1. Verse 2. Chorus 2. Chorus 3. And the tag, which was twice. And that last chorus, they called it broken down. That last chorus where it just one more day, all the music just kind of went away, you remember? One more time, one more sunset, baby, I'd be satisfied. But then again, and then the band comes in. That's a term called, the broken down chorus, in case you want to be hip and, since we're in the Musicians Hall of Fame here, we'll use some of those terms. But okay, that was a pretty basic structure. Now, where was the title? Where did the title end up? Now, the title of this song is what?
One more day.
One More Day. It's not One More Day with You.
One more day.
Right, I'm saying it's not One More Day with You. Okay, so the with you, they could have called it that, and if you looked it up on spot or whatever, One More Day with You, it's going to show up. But it's one of those where the title just says one more day. It's like that's the title, and if it's one more day with you, it's still the title. It's in that place at the end of the chorus, and that with you is just hanging on theirs again. It doesn't have to. All these don't have to always completely end with the title. With you is a sort of an afterthought, and it works and it rhymes. Because one more day is not rhyming, right? Million I love yous, that's what I'll do with one more day with you. Okay. Setup line. The very first verse, the setup line is the next to last line of the verse, Malibu. Title line, I simply wish for one more day with you. It didn't rhyme day. Probably a good choice. Okay. And then what? You hit the title line where? First line of the chorus. Very interesting. One more day. There it is again. And it's also at the end of the chorus. But then again, I know what it would do. Setup line. Leave me wishing still for one more day with you. Very interesting. Here's what's really going to help you guys. And I would have recommended this from the beginning and may recommend it from here on out if you want. And when you're off by yourself with this and you're working through it for 2 solid years after you leave here, I would copy off every one of those lyrics and put them in another book. So when you're listening to One More Day, for instance, you'll have the lyric in front of you. And you can go, oh, there's the setup line. Oh, and there's the title line. Okay, verse, chorus, verse, okay. Being able to see it and hear it would be a great thing at the beginning until you're able to do that all by yourself without the lyric. It would take some time, but it'd be worth copying out, putting in a digital file on your computer or copying it out on paper, which I would do because then I could circle stuff and make little notes. And I would copy out all the lyrics under these recommended exercises, and there's a lot of them, and put them in your book so you can actually be looking at the structure and looking at the setup lines. That will really help you a lot. It would really, really help a lot. At first especially. Okay, this is an interesting structure, is it not?
I thought there were 3 tracks at the end.
There might have been. I think there might have been. So, in 16, One More Day, in the verse, the setup line is the next to last line of the verse and the last line of the verse. Correct? You know what I mean? I guess you don't remember it because you don't have the lyric in front of you, but I'm telling you, in the verses, the setup line was the next to last line of the verse, and the title line was the last line of the verse. And in the chorus, the title line is the first line of the chorus, one more day. And like the verse, the setup line is next to last line of the chorus as well, and the title line is the last line of the chorus. So that's bookended.
Yes.
Those are bookended. It's hard to remember all this while I'm spitting all this out. I know, because you just heard it and you're trying to remember. Please, even if you do it one lesson at a time or 3 at a time or something, copy these lyrics out in these recommended exercises. So when we talk about it, you'll have it in front of you. It'll help a ton. I mean, I have it here on a couple myself because my memory's not great sometimes. Hey, what was the second verse? Where was the title line? You know, at the end of One More Day, on page 27, it says, select a song title from your hook book and write within the following structure. Guess what structure that is? Same what you just heard in One More Day. Same structure. If you need to go back to listen to One More Day to get that structure in your head, then keep listening. That's a unique structure. And it works really well. And you'll write a song like that one day, and you'll not know where you got the idea, because you'll have the confidence to do it, because something will go, oh, yeah, I've been here before. You know, it's like driving. It's like, oh, wait a minute, this reminds me of Louisville, kind of. Yeah, I've been here before. Oh, that's different. Or whatever. Okay, number 17 on page 27. Same idea. Listen to the following song examples and identify the structure, which means verses and choruses, as well as setup lines and title lines. If we can get this the first time going down, then we're great. But if not, just write the form. Okay, that's an incredible song, Don Schlitz and Paula Overstreet, so that's a pretty good combination of songwriters there.
Yeah.
So it's a very basic form, or structure, I should say. The form is what? The form is verse-chorus form, right? Do you see the difference? The form is verses with same choruses. The structure is what? Verse 1, what else? Somebody.
Verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, chorus 2, and last chorus.
That's it. Yeah. Okay, verse 1, verse 2, chorus 2 and 3. Tag. Is there a tag?
No.
Okay, which was, see, that's just taste. You know, you hear 2 choruses in a row, titles at the end of the choruses. Don't tag it.
Don't need it.
You don't need a tag.
Right, right. Okay, what's the structure? What's the structure? Where's the setup line and the title line?
If ever I fall.
Huh?
If ever I fall, it's the setup line.
Where is it?
Right before the title line.
Where's the title line?
At the end of the chorus.
Okay.
You'd say fast when you say nothing at all.
Yeah, the setup line is the next to the last line of the chorus. Title line's the last line of the chorus. And then the next thing to know is what's the rhyming word with the title, right? Fall. Whenever I fall, you say it best when you say nothing at all. Okay, hear all those things you need to listen for? The structure, well, you already know the form, verse, chorus form. What's the structure? We just talked about that, where the verses and the chorus are. The title line and the setup line. And then the third thing is, what's the setup line word, right? What's the setup line that rhymes with the title?
All.
Right.
You say fast, say nothing at all.
Yeah. Fall.
Oh.
Fall and all. Okay. You're starting to see how to go forward in these structures. Now I'm asking you to write 2 verses. Well, the verse in the parentheses means you can write a second verse or not. Up to you. But write the same structure that you just heard. A verse or 2 verses, if you want. And then the chorus with the same setup line and title line as when you say nothing at all. And check yes or no. And the house that built me. And tonight I want to cry. And we don't fight anymore. All those songs have the same. They don't have the same structure. Okay, listen up. They don't have the same structure as what we just heard. They may have 2 verses in the front, okay? But the important thing is what the assignment says, is where the setup line and the title lines are. They may have a little bit of a different structure. They're not all verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, chorus 2 and 3. That's not the important thing. The really important thing is what is the structure, and they're all going to be a little different maybe, and where's the setup line and the title line. And then write a verse and a chorus, or 2 verses and a chorus with that same setup line and title line placement. No? Yes? You see how this can be helpful? And guess what? You do all these assignments and you have a verse here and a chorus there and finish the song. Just finish it. If you have these in your hook book, which I'm asking you to do, select a song title from your hook book and write within the following structure, and you write 2 verses and a chorus, and you show up to a co-write, you're armed, and you got 25 of these, you're armed and dangerous, man. You're ready to go. Or you could sit by yourself and finish it, or whatever, you know. You've done a lot of the heavy lifting by the craft part first, you see? Then you can talk to your co-writer about what is this about, maybe, you know. Okay, let's look at, we're going to keep going. Again, please listen to those other examples. Check yes or no, the house that built me, all those are great. Okay, number 18 on 27. Again, this is a bit unconventional. It's a great song. Okay, verse 1, right? Chorus 1. Verse 2, chorus 2, very conventional. And then you get this, I said, meet me in the morning. She told me I was crazy, yeah, but I still thought that maybe she'd show up. Yeah, but now chorus 3. What would you
call that broken chorus thing?
It's an interesting, it's sort of acting as a bridge.
Okay.
Which we don't know.
A bridge before the chorus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which we don't know about bridges yet, but we do. And I just made a note here because I don't think I added that sort of bridge to my bridge examples, but that's a fairly common thing. It's the end of the end of the chorus, right? You got chorus 2, but then you got, I said, meet me in the morning, and she told me I was crazy, yeah, but I still thought that maybe she'd show up. That's the end of the chorus. She said, damn, that sky looks no, it's the end of the verse. It's the end of the verse. She said, damn, that sky looks perfect. I said, girl, you've never seen stars like the one back home. And she said, maybe I should see them for myself. So it's 3 lines at the end of a verse. So the end of a verse section is being used as a bridge. Usually bridges have different music because it's a different section, but this is really unique. Okay, this is an interesting thing with the setup line and the title line, right? Okay, let's look at the chorus. Again, having the lyrics in front of you would really help. So please do yourself a favor. The chorus says, yeah, but now I'm dodging potholes in my sunburnt Silverado like a heartbroken desperado headed right back to my roots. Something about the way she kissed me tells me she'd love Eastern Tennessee. Yeah, but all I brought back with me was some sand in my boots. So you got a setup line, then you got a different line, then you got the title line. It's not really a framing rhyme, right? That's really interesting. So you have the setup line, roots, and then another line that ends with Eastern Tennessee. Then you get the title line, sand in my boots. You see that?
Yeah.
So you see that? It's good to have a visual of these things, you know. Setup line, roots, another line, Tennessee, title line, boots. Boom, boom, boom. It's not a framing rhyme, really. It's kind of like one, but that's a nice and wonderful example of a bridge. If you ever wonder, how am I going to write a bridge? What's the music? Well, now you can steal from this one and go, oh, what if we just wrote the same music, different lyrics, the end of a verse, because the end of a verse goes right into a chorus, and it has twice already. It's a good idea. We do this enough, you're starting to see how to listen and also how to what I want you to write. Okay, we just listened to Sand in My Boots on 27 and 28 says, now I want you to select a song title from your hook book and write within the following structure. This structure is similar to a framing rhyme with the title at the end. So I want you to write verse and maybe a second verse. There it is in parentheses. And I want you to write a chorus with the setup line as the second line of the chorus and the title line as the last line or fourth line of the chorus, just like you heard. Make sense? Does that make sense, everybody? Second line and fourth line of the chorus. So a third line is going to be a different line, just like we heard in Sand in My Boots. Interesting form, structure. There's some interesting things going on in here. Maybe more complicated than I anticipated, but let's walk through it together. Verse 1, right? And this is a thing. This is a thing too. I said I want to touch the earth. I want to break it in my hands. I want to grow something wild and unruly. And then you get, I want to sleep on the hard ground. Is that verse 2 or is that part of verse 1?
Part of verse 1.
Could be.
That's what I think.
Yeah, you could be. I think that's pretty subjective. Mm-hmm. It feels like it, I don't know. I might call that verse 2 for some reason because it felt like it, even though it was 3 lines and wants to move forward. That's kind of subjective. I guess there's a good argument about, well, 3 lines and you got the next one, but I don't know. People hear that differently. I would almost call that verse 2 coming up, but that, regardless, that's okay. Okay, verse 1, and then you get, I would call that a pre-chorus, even though we don't know what pre-chorus is there yet. Oh, it sounds good to me. I said, cowboy, take me away. That almost feels like a pre-chorus right there, but that's okay, don't worry about it. Verse 1, pre-chorus. Chorus 1, verse 3, or verse 2, we'll call it.
Pre-chorus?
Then you get, I want to be the only one for miles and miles except for maybe you and your simple smile. That feels like that was another verse. It was like a very short verse, was it not? Okay, does anybody, let's skip all that because it can get crazy, especially without the lyrics in front of you. I'm asking you to remember a whole lot. Where's the title?
At the beginning of the chorus.
Yeah, period. Period. That's the lesson here.
Take me away.
Cowboy, take me away.
Yeah, that's the chorus, right?
That's the top. That's the title line. There is no setup line, of course, because
Well,
it's
no,
at.
but it rhymes with pray, so that's why I got That's what she rhymes away with, like 2 lines.
Further on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can the setup line, I guess, be after?
Setup means before, I guess. That's I don't know what you. I don't think we even need to call that anything. I wonder if it were cowboy, take me away, fly this girl as high as you can into the wild blue, set me free, so set me free, closer to heaven above and closer to you. I don't think you'd need to rhyme it.
No, it didn't rhyme until pray.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think you even needed to rhyme pray.
At all. Yeah, I got
Set me free, closer to heaven above.
Sure, I got
I don't know how structurally important it is. It worked wonderfully, and it's a great inner rhyme, but the title line is where? Top of the chorus only. I think it's very interesting. Cowboy, I love it. Set me free, oh, I pray. Closer to heaven above and closer today. Cowboy, take me away. They could have done that, right? Put it at the end of the chorus and bookended it, but it's cool they didn't. You know? So now you have permission to write a song with the title at the top of the chorus, but not at the end of the chorus. And you won't know why until you're faced with that. And it'll kind of remind you of the Dixie Chicks song that did that you can't really quite remember. It's a nice thing. Closer to heaven and closer to you, closer to you. You could argue, oh, is that the title? Closer to you. Because it ended up in a sort of a strategic point at the end of the chorus.
Not
But
the way they say
cowboy, take me away. Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay.
That was early 2000, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Marcus wrote this.
I wanna walk and not run. You know what I love about the Dixie Chicks? They're smart. Their lyrics, she sings it smart. I want to walk and not run. Said I want to walk and not run. She doesn't misset it. I want to walk and not run. A lot of people would say, I want to walk and not run. I want to walk and not run.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, oh, you get it. Remember we talked about missetting? She sang it, she waited. I want to walk and not run. You get it. I want to walk and not run. And not run. Not run. Not run. I want to walk and not run. What in the world is a not run? You know, it's just like, what in the world are you talking about? I want to walk and not run. Oh, not run. Not run. Wrong. Right? Emphasis on not. Wrong. Okay, so in as before, select a song title from your hook book. This will be easy and write within the following structure. Write a verse or two verses and write a chorus and just put the title line at the very first line of the chorus. Only. Not at the end, not in the middle like we've learned. Not the penultimate line. First line of the chorus, that's all you need. Usually those first line of the chorus titles need to be a pretty big exclamation. You know? They're really announcing themselves. We are the world. We are the children. I mean, it's boom. You know, it's right there on
Which
the.
she does.
Which she does.
Sings, you know, she just knocks out.
Yeah. But the title has to justify that, a big statement, or the listener will be wondering, is that the title? If it's not a big, I want to be closer to you. Well, even that sounds like the title there at the top of the chorus. So, yeah. So that's an easy one. Write two verses and a chorus with the title line, first line of the chorus only.
The chorus.
And you can use that same rhyme scheme if you want to, as they have with pray and away, if you want, or not. That's not the important thing. We're not emulating the rhyme scheme on these things, just the structure, title placement, setup lines. That's really what this whole text is about. Okay, look to page 28, recommended exercise number 20. We don't have to listen to these. You know how to do it. Listen to the following song examples and identify the structure on a separate piece of paper would be great. Copy out the lyric if you need to, that would help. Verse 1, chorus 1, whatever it is. And also, where are the setup lines, title lines, and in this case, payoff lines. So we're going to get some framing rhymes here. You're going to find some framing rhymes in this exercise. Remember what a framing rhyme is? Don't know where I'll go or what I'll do. I'm a little past Little Rock, but a long way from over you. Title's in the middle of two lines that do rhyme. That's called a framing rhyme.
The bottom one is the payoff, right?
Yes, exactly. And one or all of these have a framing rhyme. I'm not sure which ones. Well, certainly Little Past Little Rock. That's the one I just gave you. So write those out, and then guess what? Select a song title from your hook book and write within the following structure. Write a verse and then write a chorus with the title line, first line of the chorus, and a framing rhyme at the end. Right? If you can't remember what those are, look back to framing rhyme. And you also have a table of contents in this book too. If you need to look up framing rhyme, that'll tell you what page it's on instead of fumbling through. Okay, eyes on the next section. See page 28? Eyes on the next section. Again, it's one of these little drop-down squares that sort of come into the text and help you with other things that you may find helpful. This, and you can read all that, or you can just let me tell you. This is really important. When you're writing songs, is kind of like a chess player. You're looking 2-3 moves in advance. You're really writing from 30,000 feet. It's never start at the beginning. I mean, it can be, but like a chess player, you're kind of looking here, then you're moving on, come looking over here and looking over there. And so one of the most important things, and I think I might have talked about this, one of the most important things, when you're writing a section, let's say you wrote the verse and you wrote a chorus, your eyes should be, okay, and you're writing, let's say you're writing the second verse, or pre-chorus, verse, chorus, maybe you're writing the second verse, okay? When you're writing that verse, especially toward the end of that verse, your eyes need to be looking at the chorus. Your eyes need to be looking at at least the first two lines of the chorus, so that will be a seamless transition. Not only harmonically, but lyrically. Okay, you don't just write a section in a vacuum. You don't just write the second verse. You write a section with an eye on the section it's probably going to.
Sure.
Your eyes are darting. Let's say you're writing the second verse. Often, if you don't look to where that's going, and you get to the chorus, you'll go, "Oh, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense." Anyway, let's start over. So when you're writing the second verse, especially toward the end of the second verse, look up while you're writing it and making sure that that verse, let's say second verse is going to the chorus again. That's likely. And you decide that's what's going to happen in this song. Because it could go to a bridge maybe. Or a solo. That can do a lot of things. But if you decided, yeah, we've got a verse, chorus, second verse, we need to go to the chorus again. Especially if it's a repeated chorus, right? Then when you're writing the end of that second verse, or really the whole thing, but toward the end of that second verse, be looking up at the first two lines of the chorus to make sure that lyric transition is smooth. Okay? Look to the section you're writing from the section you're in. Right? Always be looking ahead. Let's say you write the second chorus. All right? You've got this verse, chorus, verse. You're looking at the chorus. Chorus, that makes sense. Now the end of the chorus, here you are. Now you're maybe going to write a solo. Okay, let's put a solo in there. Now, if it goes back to maybe a half verse, let's say, a half verse after a solo, right? 2 lines or something. Let's say it's 2 lines. Your eyes are going to be looking where? At the chorus again. Okay, you have a 2-line verse. Be looking up at that chorus, the first 2 lines of the chorus at least, to make sure that lyric transition makes sense, that it's just seamless. Huh?
Cohesive.
Yeah, cohesive. Does that make sense? You probably do that anyway, but if you don't, it can save you a lot of time. A lot of songwriters are like, you get to the second verse and you're going to the chorus, and the chorus doesn't make sense now. Oh, wait a minute. You're always kind of looking ahead from the section you're in to the section you're going to. Lyrically. Harmonically too, but... And conjunctions on page 29. That's a big one. We talked about conjunctions, how important they are. And the most useful conjunctions for songwriters are and, but, for, so, because. And trying different conjunctions before the title can offer insights into what to say. I always put those but, but, and. For instance, let's look at those examples. I Can't Love You Anymore is at the end of that line is the title. And I capitalize the first word of every in the titles, just in case you're not sure what the title is. Titles are capitalized in this text. I can't swallow my pride, hide the hurt inside, and I can't love you anymore. That and said a lot. Or maybe the second verse is, I can still be your friend, hope you find happiness in the end, but I can't love you anymore. That says something different, doesn't it? And then, I need to be free, do what's best for me, so I can't love you anymore. It's a subtle difference, but it's a lot. It says a lot, and it gives you a direction to write. It gives you a direction to write toward that title in a little bit of a different way. I often start with the title with a different conjunction and then write backwards from that to make the so, because, and whatever work. Again, that's just another example of looking ahead. Now looking behind. Your eyes are darting to make all these different connections. You never write in a vacuum. I'll give you an example of, and then we'll quit. I'll give you an example of a song that we wrote, and I actually demoed it and I listened to the demo and I went, she sang the wrong conjunction. I think I told her, she goes, come on, you overthink everything.
Oh my goodness.
And it makes all the difference. Verse 1 is, sure seems to make you happy. Heard your mom and your daddy are crazy about her like they never were about me. I understand she's safe and steady. Her small town heart is move-in ready. That's pretty good, especially for a real estate agent. I knew you'd like that. And I'm still paying rent, trying to make it wild as I can be. But every now and then, you're going to want to feel the wind blowing hot against your skin, across your skin, and you'll be wanting me again. Some sunny day, I'll hit you like a hurricane. In every cloud, you'll see my face, and you'll regret the choice you made. I'll always be the storm you chase. I'll always be that storm you chase. That's an interesting example of the title at the end of the chorus. By the way, not that we're talking about that. Title at the end of the chorus, setup line, made. And hurricane, too. Okay, verse 2, you'll get tired of picket fences, 9 to 5, and you'll start missing those all-nighters when you and I were loving on the edge, but every now and then. See, it goes to the chorus, right? Repeats the chorus, right? You see up there? Mm-hmm. It starts with a but. That's not a good choice. Think about that for a second. You'll get tired of picket fences, 9 to 5, and you'll start missing those all-nighters when you and I were loving on the edge. But every now and then, you're going to feel the wind. What's a better choice? What's a better choice for a conjunction there? And. Listen for a second. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Verse 2, you'll get tired of picket fences 9 to 5, and you'll start missing those all-nighters when you and I were loving on the edge. And every now and then, you're going to feel the wind blowing hot against you. See how the and makes better sense than the but? Again, that's from looking ahead to the section you're writing from, see? And then it goes back to, after the bridge, it goes back to but in chorus 3. So the bridge says, and you're running from me, running from me, running from me now. But every now and then, you're going to feel the wind. It could be either one, really. And but really work both there. But I like but every now and then. It's a subtle distinction, but it makes all the difference. Right? Into verse 1 says, I understand she's safe and steady. Her small town heart is moving ready. And I'm still paying rent, trying to make it wild as I can be. But every now and then, you're going to feel the wind. She's warning him. Yeah, you're with somebody, but you're always going to miss me. Yeah. But every now and then, you're going to feel the wind. And at the end of the second verse, those all-nighters when you and I were loving on the edge, you'll get tired of picket fences, 9 to 5, and you'll start missing those all-nighters when you and I were loving on the edge. And every now and then, you're going to feel the wind. But would be not, that doesn't make sense. And it's pretty subtle, but again, great songs are written in that 3%. That you got everything else going on. You're good melody writers. You got good titles. You're writing the structure right. It's those little things that make good songs great, like ands and buts. And those little things, man. That's a good example of looking ahead and looking behind and making sure those conjunctions. And that's a really good thing to put in your hook book too. When you have a title. For instance, I Can't Love You Anymore. You have the rhyming words with more, right? I can't love you anymore, right? You could have a short sentence about maybe what this is about. You could emphasize every word in the title. I can't love you anymore. I can't love you anymore. I can't love you anymore. You can do that. Title tumble that thing. And another thing is to write the title with different conjunctions in front of it. And I can't love you anymore. Ooh, I can do this and I can do that. And I can't love you anymore. No, I can't do this and I can't do that. And I can't love you anymore. I can do this and I can do that. But I can't love you anymore. So the and and the buts, they say two different things. And that's pretty much all you'd need to write 2 verses. That gives you a direction to go based on the conjunction with the title. Working backwards with the conjunction in the title. That's a big deal. That's a $1 million hint right there. Because I can't love you anymore. I can do this. Why am I acting this way? Maybe your second verse is, do I feel a little removed? Do I feel a little off-put? Do I feel a little distant these days? Well, the reason is, maybe you don't need a conjunction. I can't love you anymore. Well, the reason is because I can't love you anymore. Because I can do this and I can do that, but I can't love you anymore. Always be aware of conjunctions and what kind of difference they make.